Today's podcast is brought to you by our friends over at Smart Deploy, allowing you to deploy one golden image from the cloud to any computer PC model at any time, as long as Paul Thurrott is not breathing in the background at smartdeploy.com/FRD.
Sorry about that. By the way, the single worst missing feature in Windows 11, right? You know what it is? You can't see the seconds in the clock anymore. When you bring up that notification, it just doesn't. I used to rely on that to. Also, I can't bring it up at all. I'm running on the dev channel now, and when I click the date and time, nothing happens because, as they promised, less stable.
So, Paul, I want to dive into the big news of the day.
Okay.
Yesterday,
not
Apple
the clock thing with the no. Okay.
Well, yesterday, Apple had this little shenanigans thing, and so the big news of the day for this is that they announced the iPhone 13 Pro phone cases, and the problem, Paul Thurrott, is that for 10 years or more, I've had a navy blue leather phone case.
Yes.
Guess what color they did not announce yesterday?
They also got rid of the kind of pine green color that I love.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm getting one, but I mean, the pine green is kind of that's a color from 2 years ago, I guess. Fashions change, as we say.
So, this is the most stressful part of this because I could get any color iPhone 13 Pro. It doesn't matter. It's going in a case. That's what I do. And so you look at the Apple cases. It's like you can get bright in your eye golden oak.
I got to look at these,
as they call it, or just whatever, as I'd also describe it as the color flooring in my house that one day I'd love to sand down and stain darker. And then there's all these other colors that are just like no navy blue. So I think I might be getting an Apple silicone case for the first time.
Right, okay. So actually, there's a clover colored silicone case, which is the green kind of color I like. It's close.
I need navy blue. Navy.
Yeah, so that they have abyss blue. Is that close enough?
You're abyss blue.
They always do this, dude. This is just.
I know, it's like.
You know what? By the way, I have to. I don't know if I'll have time. I'm actually really busy. I've got 2 meetings this morning. I've got my podcast this afternoon. But if I have the time, I'd like to write an article called "What Apple Didn't Say at the Announcement." There's a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff. For example, the processor in the Apple Watch is exactly the same as the one last year. They didn't even talk about that.
They're very vague on that.
But even worse than that. Way worse than that. And I should say more interesting than that. There's a new chip in the new iPhones.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see what they didn't discuss with those chips?
No.
How much faster they are than the ones that were in the phone last year. And you know why? They're not any faster. They're actually not any faster. Mm. So they just, and again, this is just coming in kind of stream of consciousness in a way. I've not really researched this or anything, but the thing I saw about this was the reason might be that some of their top level chip designer guys all left the company last year. And now they're working, I don't know where they're working, at one of the other companies making chips, Qualcomm or Intel or something. I don't know where they went, but they're gone. And It's like, seriously, you lose a couple people and now you don't get the thing they claim every year, 47%, 50%, whatever performance. I think that's fascinating. Also, one of the biggest rumors heading into this thing was that the new watch was going to have the same design as the iPhones do now with the flat sides. No, same bulbous design as ever.
It does have a larger screen. But
yeah, which is fantastic, by the way, and overdue. But it's not, they're not flat. They're just, they're rounded rectangles or whatever you want to call that.
Rounded rectangles. Yeah, so
if you look at your watch, in this orientation, I can't do anything.
They're Windows 11.
This is not an Apple Watch, but it's the same shape, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think I'm going to be buying a 7 or whatever the watch is. If it would have had a new design, that probably would push me. But
they should have called it the 6 Pro. It's just the 6 with a bigger screen.
Yeah, really.
But you have a 4. You said I think.
Yeah, a 4.
I guess it's still a decent upgrade. But now, of course, that we have this notion in our head that this other design's coming, and it probably is.
Right.
Why not just wait for that?
Right. There's nothing I look at my watch and be like, I wish it didn't. Typically, the lowest common denominator is battery. Now, the battery, I'm sure, over the next year will probably go pretty bad. But as of right now, I can easily get through an entire day. And so,
well, that's good.
What's the rush at this point?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm going to end up with the 13 Pro. I think the most annoying thing here.
What color? What color?
It doesn't matter. They don't have navy blue leather cases, Paul. This is like, I'm going to write Tim Cook and be like, there's one thing that I need. It's the navy blue. And I'm going to end up with a silicone case, which I'm sure is fine. But it's not what I'm used to.
Is it fine, or is it not as good as a leather case?
God, I hate you.
It's like,
because they're going to get me for $150.
But a Volkswagen Fox is fine. They don't make Volkswagen Fox anymore, but
yeah, I know.
Piece of crap car is what it was. Anyway, it's okay.
If any dear listeners are out there and know of a navy navy blue phone case, I would be.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know if I've done this. I spend a stupid amount of money on stupid things. I've gone through many, many cases for many, many phones. I've gone through all these third-party leather cases for different phones. Mm-hmm. I still find myself kind of looking at them. They're never. You don't want that. You want the Apple one. If you have an iPhone,
right? That's the thing. You
literally want the Apple one. And for all the nonsense around Apple and all the arguments, the truth is, you're spending $1,000 on a phone. You want the Apple case. You just, I do. I mean, I would. I wouldn't. I do. And I've spent, like I said, I probably bought over the years a dozen or more, probably more, third-party cases, and always regretted it.
Mm-hmm. One thing you absolutely will not regret is checking out our friends over at Smart Deploy, because with Smart Deploy, you can deploy images, applications, and scripts over your existing network or the cloud. Keep in mind, or the cloud. Claim your free Smart Deploy subscription worth $574 at smartdeploy.com/FRD. Smart Deploy. There'll be links and descriptions and stuff etched onto the back of iPhone cases. Here's what's going to happen, Paul. I'm already calling it. I'm going to buy this silicone case. It's going to come. And in the spring, they're going to launch the navy.
That's right.
The classics return
navy
just
blue
in time
is
for
not
spring.
Really a spring color. Don't they tend to do colorful colors in the spring? I don't really follow the, but
yes,
okay.
You're
sure.
Right. Yes. Yeah. But
I think enough people will complain. Maybe they'll add it.
Yeah, but I need it.
You may love Abyss Blue, Brad. You may love silicone. That's stupid.
Anyway, so 13 Pro, not getting the big one. I mean, the other annoying thing too is, per usual, I'm already frustrated with the whole trade-in and understanding the Verizon process. So I suspect I'm just going to end up just taking the. Here's what happens: you go to the page, and everyone's going to be like, "Just switch to T." Like I could get a Porsche probably before I could convince my wife to switch to T-Mobile. That this is like.
I don't look.
There's no logic here.
Wireless carriers are not something that people have preferences for. It's really based on where you live and where you go. And if you, I'm essentially on T-Mobile through Mint. I mean, there are areas up the street that I don't get service, right? So it's not a huge problem.
Here's the risk I'm not willing to take, Paul Threpp. Mm-hmm. I'm willing to pay a little bit more because we could switch to T-Mobile. We could do it, or AT&T or whatever. Yep. Here's the problem. The first time that my wife cannot make a call, where she can make a call today, will be the end of my existence. Yeah, you
don't want to be on the receiving end of that little conversation, which would be in person because she can't make a call.
Right. So we are on Verizon. So you go to their page and you can click on it. It's like $10 a month for 30 months. So that works out to $300. I'm like, that sounds great. I would happily pay $300, give them my old one and whatever.
Right.
Asterisks all over the place. So the other challenge is that you have to be in an unlimited plan, and I'm not in an unlimited plan because we don't need an unlimited plan. We have
your phone is paid for and unlocked, I assume, by this point. I mean, just do the upgrade through Apple.
Right. So, but that's probably where I'm going to end up. But they only want to give like $245 for it. It's like, well, I could probably get.
It's 3 years old. I mean, that's. Yeah, I hear you. I think actually maybe I didn't. I haven't sent you this. I found a pretty good resource for.
Yeah, you sent. I saw your message that your phone price trade-in dropped magically overnight.
I found one of the Mac sites or Apple sites had a list of places you can trade in your phone for. You can kind of just compare them at each place and figure out the best value. If you're into that kind of.
Maybe that's where I'm going to end up. But I was trying to do the Verizon thing, but it's like we have the plan that has rollover data. I don't know, whatever the hell they call it anymore. And I looked, and we have like 19 gigs of data. Like we don't use all of what we have anyway, so why pay more for unlimited? And then like looking at trying to finance it through Verizon, my monthly bill would go up like $60 because you got to move up a tier, and then you got to add on the phone. And then I'm just like,
$60 should be what you pay for the month.
Like I just want to start punching people.
Well, look, this is not news to people that wireless carriers are terrible, right?
Yep.
They're always terrible. They just are. You should go through Apple or a third party.
I'm definitely going to go through. I'm probably buying my phone unlocked through Apple. I think is probably the
do it, and that gives you the well, I don't know how iPhones are. They used to be different. Probably all iPhones are the same internally now. So at least it's unlocked out of the gate, and then you can, if you do want to switch carriers, obviously it would be easier.
So, anyways, I guess I should figure that out. If anybody, I'm pretty sure they all one. It's like one iPhone to rule them all anymore. I think that's where we're at.
So too, actually, yeah.
Now
I don't really. Yeah, I think you're right.
So, but anyways, that's an iPad Mini looks like an iPad Mini.
It looks like an iPad Air, is what it looks like.
Yeah, it does.
Which is great. It's fine. It bugs me a little bit that the normal iPad, whatever it is now, 10.2 inches probably, is just the same frickin' iPad since iPad 2. It's like they haven't changed that thing at all, including the port, which is crazy. But okay, I mean, I get it's cheap, Yeah, the iPad Mini was as expected. I mean, let me think about this. I mean, that might have been the only big news of the day. I mean, the iPhones were as expected, no big deal, as far as, upgrade year over year. Yeah, I mean, they're really...
AirPod 3s did not show. That was potentially out there.
So they must be iPad and Mac in November, so it must be iPad Pro and Mac, or maybe even iPad Air, is kind of a step up. I don't know. But
yeah, I guess they could do the AirPods at that event in a month or whatever that is.
Do them. I mean, does it need an event?
I don't know. This is Apple.
Yeah, I don't know.
They have an event every time, like they get new food in the cafeteria. Like it's...
You stripped out the infomercial stuff from that event. That thing would have been like 7 minutes long,
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's Apple, though. It was somewhat maybe surprising that nothing to do with like what they announced, but the previous events when they knew that nobody would be in the studio were like these really high quality production, like Tim walking around the loop and all that stuff. And this was him just on the stage. Now there were some other, cut in videos and whatnot. But I don't know if they were at one point optimistic that people were actually going to come to this thing.
The place where they were on a dock in San Francisco, we've been there for an event, and I probably a Microsoft event. I can't.
Oh yeah, you and I have a picture there.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. And yeah, anyway, it's just a cool place. I don't know the name of it, but it was figured very prominently in the show. I thought it was kind of cool, but it's not. Look, it's such a weird thing to complain about. That Apple, their products have reached a maturity where the year-over-year advantages are just kind of minor. Makes sense. Like it's not something to complain about, except that Apple makes such a big deal out of everything.
Yeah.
Kind of filtering through all the noise to try to find out what really is going on. And at the end of the day, you're like, well, this didn't really warrant this much attention. I mean, in fact, by providing it so much attention, you're kind of overtly highlighting what you're not talking about, which is that it's not, it's...
But they have to, though, because we all know how much money those phones make. And
look,
I mean, this would be like them. This would be, if there was a Microsoft equivalent, this would be like Microsoft taking Windows off the senior leadership team. It'll never happen. I mean, it makes so much money. Why would you ever do that?
Oh man. Speaking of Abyss Blue. What a great color name.
Yeah. It is a great color. Anyway, so that's the Apple event in a begrudge in a nutshell, I guess.
I'm not buying anything. I'm so happy.
Well, yeah.
No, not that they announced yesterday. I mean,
even if they came out with a navy blue.
I like the green color better. I still have it. I'm going to get rid of this soon, but is this it? No. Down there somewhere. Yeah, look at it. It's aging nice. I just got rid of my picture.
Is that blue? That's the navy blue.
It's like forest green.
Oh, it looks blue on the camera. But
yeah, it's a stupid camera. You can kind of see the color of the phone in there. It's kind of that greenish color.
Would the 12 Pro case fit?
No, the new ones are thicker. Yeah.
Ruining everything.
That's the one thing they did right with the watch, at least, right? I mean, so for all, it's like, oh, this doesn't have a new design, but then you're like, but hold on a second, everything else, all the bands and all this stuff still work, and you know.
It's called the Intel model, where you just put out a new chip, and you have to buy a completely new motherboard because, God forbid, they're ever cross-gen compatible.
Well, you can't accuse Microsoft of ever doing that with service.
Anyways, things you should check out are our friends over at SmartDeploy, modern endpoint management solutions for the modern hybrid workplace. Head on over to smartdeploy.com/FRD.
Abyss Blue.